Dear students, welcome you all to this session on quorum sensing. This is an important phenomenon in the world of bacteria. Let's first see the literal meaning of the word quorum. A quorum is a minimum number of members of a committee necessary to conduct the business of that group like voting, etc. The activities of the committee cannot be smoothly carried out without the quorum. We shall now see how this is applicable in the case of bacteria. As we all know, bacterial cells are very small, generally about 1 micrometer long, that is about 1/1000th of a millimeter. There are very dangerous bacteria which can kill humans within few days of infection. How do these tiny creatures create this much havoc in a short time in a huge multicellular host like the humans with multiple defense mechanisms? The answer lies in its collective behavior. Bacteria multiply very fast. Just to give you an example, E. coli, a common bacteria, divides once in every 20 minutes. Can you imagine how many bacteria can be formed from a single bacterial cell in about 10 hours? It's more than 50 crores just from a single cell. That much is the potential of bacteria to multiply. When bacteria multiply in this manner, after a sufficient number has been reached, they start communicating with each other. This phenomenon is called quorum sensing. They make chemical words and try to speak in that language to get a feel of their environment. Other bacteria of the same species will be able to recognize these words. Then they can act to survive and multiply in the best manner possible by turning on some group behavior. To put it as a definition, quorum sensing is a cell-to-cell communication that allows bacteria to share information about cell density and change gene expressions accordingly. Now, there are hundreds of bacterial behaviors mediated by quorum sensing. One of the most important is virulence. It means how much damage these pathogenic bacteria do to our tissues and how much serious the disease will be. Let's try to understand the mechanism of quorum sensing. Till a few decades back, bacteria was considered as very simple organisms not capable of interacting with each other. In 1970s, scientists discovered that bacteria can indeed communicate with each other. The first proof came from studies on an aquatic bacterium called Vibrio fischeri. When the population of this bacteria swells beyond a threshold, they exhibit bioluminescence or emitting of light. If the bacterial numbers are below the threshold, they do not produce light. In fact, these bacteria live in a symbiotic association with squids. Earlier, it was thought that the squids were producing the light. Vibrio fischeri actually grows inside the light organs of squid, and when their numbers swell, they start emitting light. Now, let's see the chemistry of quorum sensing. This involves the production and detection of signaling molecules called autoinducers by these bacteria. Different types of bacteria produce different types of autoinducers. We will see quorum sensing mechanism in Vibrio fischeri, a gram-negative bacteria. Vibrio fischeri has a cluster of Lux genes. These bacteria release chemicals called autoinducers mediated by the Lux I gene. One such autoinducer is homoserine lactone. This molecule is represented as light brown spheres in this picture. As bacteria multiply, a large number of homoserine lactones would be present in the vicinity of cells. When the bacterial population reaches a threshold, these homoserine lactones will go and bind to receptor proteins called Luxar. Now, these receptors are represented by green squares with a cleft in the figure. Luxar receptors are located on the cell membrane of bacteria. The Luxar receptor bound to homoserine lactone will then go inside the bacterial cell and bind to specific regions in the bacterial DNA. This will result in the activation of genes involved in bioluminescence. This is the case with Vibrio fischeri. Many other gram-negative bacteria cause life-threatening diseases. For example, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Vibrio cholerae, E. coli, etc. In gram-positive bacteria, a slightly different mechanism exists. Here, the bacterial cell secretes short peptides outside the cell using export proteins called ATP binding cassette systems. You can see these short peptides as purple half cylinders in the figure. They are called AIPs or autoinducer peptides. When bacterial numbers flare up, so do the number of AIPs exported out. These AIPs then bind to receptor proteins called histidine kinases. represented by red half cylinders in the figure. Histidine kinases will respond to this binding by getting autophosphorylated. The autophosphorylated histidine kinase then activates the transcription of one or more target genes. This in turn will result in the expression of virulence factors by the bacteria. Now, in this context, one should understand the importance of phosphorylation in signal transduction mechanisms of both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Phosphorylation reactions are generally carried out by enzymes called kinases. They add a phosphate group to a molecule. The reverse reaction is done by enzymes called phosphatases, which remove the phosphate group from molecules. These two reactions, phosphorylation and dephosphorylation, are the basis for the expression of many genes in living organisms. Now, let us see some of the events which occur as a result of quorum sensing. One such event is the bioluminescence, as we saw in the case of Vibrio fischeri. But a more dangerous event is the formation of biofilms, especially in disease causing bacteria. In some pathogenic bacteria like Vibrio cholerae, quorum sensing will result in activation of genes involved in virulence. These genes may be involved in the production of toxins which can damage the organs. In some cases, if the bacterial load is more, this can lead to a dangerous condition called sepsis or septicemia. This occurs due to poisoning of blood by these toxins. One should understand that this can even happen if the bacteria are killed by antibiotics, but already their population had flared up in the patient. Biofilms can develop on the inner sides of water distribution pipes. Later, rock bacteria will eventually break off and enter the water supply. Conventional disinfection techniques such as chlorination often turn ineffective in such cases. In medical settings, biofilms occur in a myriad of places such as urinary catheters, mechanical heart valves, contact lenses, etc. Such infections can turn fatal, especially in patients who are immunocompromised, like the elderly people or those whose bodies are already weak due to recurrent infections. So, to summarize the whole topic, biofilms are strongly adherent assemblage of differentiated bacterial cells enclosed in a matrix of polysaccharides. Bacteria can adhere to the surfaces and form biofilms in places as seemingly diverse as teeth, lungs, intestines, contact lenses and water pipes. Biofilm formation is considered the major contributor for the virulence of many bacteria. For example, Staphylococcus epidermidis, the most frequent cause of nosocomial sepsis and catheter related infections. Quorum sensing is the technique which bacteria employ to create biofilms. It is very difficult to disrupt biofilms as antibiotics have less penetrating ability into the biofilms. Scientists are on the constant lookout of destroying biofilms by disrupting the quorum sensing abilities of bacteria. Let us hope that they soon come up with positive results. So, until we meet again, goodbye.